as St Kilda, we do not get a single selection of father-son because we don't have any history. The one player who does have history in our club has 3 kids that will not be able to access at St Kilda. Oh
Just
my
another
God.
recruit that rejects St Kilda.
Get the rights to a stadium confirmed and get building started, because if you don't have a stadium, it's going to affect a lot of things. Well, I think it's time to talk about Tassie now, because there was an article that came out, I believe, yesterday, based off of the draft concessions that they will be getting for when their first year comes around. And I'll sort of go through them now. They will get access to uncontracted players as free agents across 2 trade periods, maximum of 1 player from every club, and those clubs do get some compensation picks. They will get a sign-up bonus of more than $1 million to help attract players, which will be a very interesting thing to do, because how they assign that to different players will be something of relevance. They will get access to Tasmanian father-son selections, meaning the Rewalt kids are the 2 main ones, and I'm going to be absolutely fucking fuming because as St Kilda, we do not get a single selection of father-son because we don't have any history. The one player who does have history in our club has 3 kids that will not be able to access at St Kilda.
Unlucky.
Why? I mean, I think they get to choose, actually, but I don't know if they'll choose St Kilda or not, because we could be absolutely horrible.
Imagine they pick Tasmania over you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh
Just
my
another
God.
recruit that rejects St Kilda.
But this time it's 16-year-olds.
They got told to learn to speak Tasmanian, and they're like, yeah, I'd rather that over St Kilda. I would so much rather the Devils over St Kilda. That's unreal.
So they'd rather the Devils than the Saints. Okay.
Insane.
They will get access to Tasmania as an academy zone, which is 100% fair. Access to multiple Tasmanian prospects eligible for the 2026 draft, so in 2 years' time, who could opt to sign with the Devils instead of entering the draft. They would play in the VFL ahead of the 2028 season, which is very interesting. So 2026 draft, first year is 2027, all throughout the VFL. I'm assuming they would just play for the team that they got drafted to as affiliate, basically. I don't know how well that would work, and I don't know how many players would actually want that, because it's a very interesting selection. I think that should almost just be 17-year-olds who just get access.
Yeah.
It's the same as like when the Suns and the Giants came in. Well, not the Suns. They didn't get the concessions. The Giants. So they were basically able to pre-draft players. So they then went back and continued playing like not local footy, but like, you know, NAB league or whatever. But they were always going to go to XYZ club rather than enter the draft.
So yeah, same thing happening for Tassie.
Okay.
So they'd go down their regular route, basically knowing, all right, my position's locked up. I know I'm going to Tasmania, but I'm going to act as if, or play and keep my development.
So it's just a year of development, basically.
Yep.
Multiple early selections in rookie and mid-season drafts. That's fine. Not going to be impacting too much, one would think. And then selections at the start of rounds 2 onwards in the draft. So that's instead of having picks 1, 3, 5, and 7 in like 2 straight years, they'd get pick 1 and then like 19, 20, 21 or whatever.
Yeah.
So a much more stable draft for the clubs who were bad during that period. And it probably levels out the competition a bit more than what it did, because it probably pushed back a couple teams as rebuilding at that time with the Giants and the Gold Coast Suns, given they were 2 so close together.
Yep.
I kind of agree with everything. I think they had 2 teams to be able to basically practice with, and now that they've got it set out, they know what they did wrong, they know what they did right, and they've set it out a lot better than what they had with Gold Coast and GWS.
Yeah. I mean, obviously in the case of Gold Coast, well, it's also going to be a matter of fact of how do they attract people to Tasmania, which is what the $1 million sign-on bonus to help attract players
I think that's a pool rather than for every player. So I think they get to assign
sign-on bonuses to all the players.
If they sign 5 players, they could give them $200,000 bonuses each.
But that's going to be an interesting thing. Do players move on from their clubs because of $200,000? Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, look, we're everyday people. $200,000 would be fantastic.
Oh my God, it'd be great.
But
what
obviously,
I do to get $200,000.
AFL players, imagine you're trying to attract, well, it says up here, Jaeger O'Meara, you're trying to get him from Fremantle. Does $200,000 bring him in?
Probably. I think what we're going to see is a lot of those players where we saw this offseason. You got Jack McRae, Daniel, Darling, and Parker, and those sorts of players. Chances are a lot of those players will be like in similar aspects in 3 years' time.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to be doing.
And just to be clear, this is on top of their contract already.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this
if they're getting 600 a year,
200,000, and that's it.
Yeah. if they're getting 600,000 a year offers, then basically play 5 games a year, and you'll get an extra $200,000. That's basically what it's going to be. So they'll make it very low eligibility for that bonus, and then they'll just be able to get it.
It just gives them, because Tassie have no money. Like Collingwood can pay players because they have money in the bank, unlike St Kilda, right?
Well, no, because every team has a salary cap.
Yeah, but it gives them that additional room to add sign-on bonuses.
No, what Collingwood can do is
not Collingwood. I mean Tasmania. It gives them that additional barrier, and it's all paid for by the AFL.
It's what Gold Coast didn't get, which is why they had to overpay so much, and that's what caused them to lose so many players, because they didn't have the salary cap to keep so many. That's sort of where they've found the balance this year, which is a much smarter way to do it. But I think it's obviously they've had the experience. They now get access to mini drafts. They get access to proper drafts in a much more even fashion, which I think is really important. So good on the AFL. I think this is one of the only things they've done right so far under Andrew Dillon and Laura Kane. But good on them.
Nice.
Finally got something right.
Well, you think back, did GWS did they do too well? I mean, they
drafted
both,
horribly. That's the thing.
I was going to say, it comes off of their poor draft choices, but I think they both started off pretty poor. Mm-hmm. Obviously, GWS has had more success as a club so far than Gold Coast. Finally, Gold Coast look like they're starting to do well. But that's what, 13, when they come in 2012, 2011, 13, 14 years after their existence, they're finally starting to hit the road. They've clearly gone from... I feel like the worst they could have possibly done to GWS. Nice little success story. Obviously not a premiership yet, but have been close. Yeah. And now you've got Tasmania, who look really set up. And if they can just play their cards right, they could get off to a really nice start. I think it's going to be hard to balance it. Is there you can give them a good start. You can give them all the necessary tools. But what do you call a successful starting franchise? Do you call it they're a very good team from the beginning? Do you think they have a really good fan base, like a really good supporter membership number? Is that what you call successful? Obviously, it's a bit tainted from the start because they had their massive 100,000 plus member start. But
again, $10 memberships though.
That's it. Yeah. Where do you call this a success?
I think first of all, get a stadium built. That's the first step, because obviously the switch in government in Tassie has resulted in a stop of progression with that. Very unfortunate. I think that's the first step that needs to happen, is get the rights to a stadium confirmed and get building started. Because if you don't have a stadium, it's going to affect a lot of things, and it's going to mean it's a lot more money for the club to then have to spend on that, which can then impact spending on other things.
And I've been to Ninja Stadium. It was Blundstone Arena at that time, but it's definitely not enough for an AFL side to call their home. Yeah. It's a beautiful ground, don't get me wrong. I think it's beautiful. Same goes with UTAS. I haven't been to UTAS, but from the looks of it, definitely not enough for a home again. So
you're just not getting enough money with $17,000 stadium, 17,000 people's stadiums, because they're going to need the money to start off with, and they get that attraction for sure. I think if
on the other hand, though, NG Stadium, that's not that big either.
No, it's got capacity. Like those stadiums just don't have the. I think even the Gabba only has a capacity of 35,000, but it gets packed out basically every week. That's the thing. You're not necessarily going to get a packed out $15,000 stadium in the first couple of years, because it's not known that they're going to be good. That's the problem.
The good thing is it looks like a lot of people are around Tassie. They're getting around Tassie, which is good to see.
Yeah.
Because we here at Zero Access Footy love to make fun of Tasmania. At least maybe I'm talking about myself.
Yes.
The idea of people learning to talk Tasmanian is hilarious. I love that.
Well, we've already mentioned it once.
The Offlanders, I can't stand them.
Can't stand them? How many times have you been to Tassie?
Twice.
I've been once.
Yeah, mate, you're never going back.
I'm not being allowed in, bro.
How many times have you been to Tassie?
I'm going there in May as well.
At least 20 times.
I'm going to watch them play Brisbane. What a poor choice. I'm going to Tasmania to watch North Melbourne play Brisbane, and I'm hoping North Melbourne win.
You're a psychopath.
Oh, that's awful.
If North Melbourne are good, I might go with you.
That would be an awful decision on your part.
Yes.
I'm just letting you know.
I went to Adelaide, mate. What could have been worse? Like, I've already been in the shit.
To be fair, you could have had Northey with you.
Producer Ethan goes bang.
But yeah, I think lots of positive signs from Tasmania's start. They've had the backing from the public. They've had a pretty good start from what it looks like, and the previous, I guess you call them experiments, to help decide how they start.
Yep.
Just comes down to that stadium, as you mentioned.
Yep.